Welcome to Might in Motion, where we help you navigate your personal and professional goals to manifest them into your deserved career and life path. Here at Might in Motion, we don't make excuses, we do the work and go above and beyond. The Might in Motion podcast brings you guests that will help stretch you out of your comfort zone and push you to improve your goals. Like, comment, and share. This is Might in Motion. Hi, welcome to Might in Motion. So excited to have everyone here this evening as we go live with Liandra Samproni. She is the ultimate badass. She's a single mom of two. She lives in Nevada. She has been a business owner for over 17 years and has owned and sold many companies. She's had an RV park. She's had a bar and grill. The one I'm most excited about is Badass Boudoir, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that today. She's a bikini competitor, confidence coach, which I think you have to have a lot of confidence to be a bikini competitor. And she hosts her own podcast, From the Ashes, Reclaiming You, where she helps women really find their spark again and live the lives that they've dreamed of. I love your podcast, Liandra. I listen to it every single week. Usually I'm lifting weights while I'm listening to it or I'm in the car. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful. I'm excited to be here.
Hey, well, we connected offline about our Italian heritage, and
Yeah.
I think that I know for me that drives me a lot. How has that driven you?
My grandparents were entrepreneurs, and I think that was the beginning of my journey. Not only with their RV park that I own now, it's helped spark, I don't know, this desire to not work for anybody else, but to like create the life that I want to live. They're the ones that started all of that back 30 something years ago, the Italian side. It's like the American dream, they come from Italy, they start their own businesses, they're in construction.
Yeah.
They might be mobsters, I don't know, but like they started all of this, and I'm grateful that I get to continue that legacy of theirs.
That is so, it's so true. Like my father came over when he was 10. So his parents one was a seamstress and the other one was a tailor. Right. And so there is that entrepreneur spirit, but also the work ethic.
Yes.
And when you're building your own dream, whatever that is, you have to have that hard work ethic. Stick with it, right?
Yep. And that's where, I don't know, like even through the pandemic, things got rough. And for a while there, I'm like, man, I wish I had a 9-to-5 right now. Like, I wish I could just go home and not worry about the governor shutting down the bar and restaurant. But we, as business owners, like that's where we are made. You make it or break it, right? Like you have to pivot. You have to come up with a solution. It's a daily thing. It's not just when the big stuff happens. You're a problem solver professionally, I guess.
You talked about how you have to just get stuff done when you're an entrepreneur. And that is also the case if you're an entrepreneur, right? So I lead a team of people, and as a leader, you love it when your team identifies a problem, but also comes with a solution. So
yes. Well, and not only that, but giving them the tools to come up with those solutions and the authority to make those decisions on like a daily basis. I can't stand being a micromanager. Like, I don't want to have to babysit you if, for the day-to-day kind of stuff. I trust my employees to make a decision. If it's a big thing, yes, they come to me, but they know the difference and they know that they can make those small incremental decisions, and it gives them some kind of an authority and, I don't know, maybe some kind of like ownership in the company. Like they are proud to work for this company, and therefore they're going to do what's best for the company and their job and the customer all the way down the line.
Yeah, I mean, by doing that, I think you create that environment of everybody being vested in the outcome.
Yes.
Right. Yep. It's more than just I'm coming in, I'm clocking in, and I'm going to go wait a table. right? Or I'm going to, or I'm going to go work the front desk, or I'm going to do whatever. You're creating that environment where people are part of that spirit and part of of your vision for the company. Right.
Yeah. I love seeing my employees do that. But at the same time, I've learned over the years that I love to watch them leave my company as well.
Yes. Yeah.
I know I don't want them to stay at a bar and restaurant and supporting their family. I want them to move on to bigger and better things. I know that I'm just a stepping stone for them.
Yeah.
And when they do like kind of fly the nest, I'm like, oh, yay, good job. Like, I'm so happy for you. I'm sad that I have to replace you, but I'm happy that you're doing something more,
We talk a little bit about, creating that environment. It's a nurturing environment with your team when you're doing that, right?
It is.
That's, you talk a lot about being your feminine energy and your masculine energy. Can you share with the group about that a little bit more?
Yeah, definitely. So feminine and masculine energy is nothing new, and it really doesn't even have to do with gender. Like, I am a female, but I tend to have a lot of masculine energy when it comes to being an entrepreneur. To me, masculine is more control and powerful and structure, but feminine is more soft and nurturing and maybe just goes with the flow. And when you're an entrepreneur, you have to learn how to be in your masculine the majority of the time. Like, you are making decisions, you are making things happen.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you kind of get into your feminine too, because you have to go with the flow. But it's over the last few years, it's really been interesting coming out of a divorce and back in the dating scene. And here I am, like this badass boss lady, and I want to just, take over the world. Well, I'm not going to find a man unless I can soften myself and step back into my feminine energy. So playing with those dynamics has been really interesting. But I found myself really finding betas, if that makes sense, because I was so masculine. I was so like almost in your face and abrasive.
Right.
But learning how to soften, then I'm like, oh, here's that masculine man. Like, he is much more masculine than I am. I don't have to compete for that space with him whatsoever. And that's been really interesting, because I feel like it plays a part, not just in business, but also in our day-to-day life,
Yeah. I mean, even in, I'm in transportation. It's a very male dominated industry. Right. And so there is that balance, right? Where sometimes I've got to come full force, like, all right, we're going to be out on the football field and we're going to battle it.
Right.
But there are times when being able to switch into that feminine and that nurturing mode actually is helpful in the business sense.
And that is where we as women, that's where we naturally thrive. Like, and we can still be powerful and be feminine, which is it's misrepresented. Everybody thinks that being feminine is weak and meekness, and it's not at all. You can be strong. I always talk about 300, that movie with Gerard Butler, and that king and that queen dynamic. Like, he was very masculine, she was very feminine, and she was still strong as hell. There was no damsel in distress there whatsoever.
Yeah. And it's number one, that's a powerful visual. But the other one I always think of, which is kind of complete opposite, is My Big Fat Greek Wedding, where the mom talks about, like, the father is the head of the family, but the mother is the neck.
Right.
Right. And so, like,
yes,
you can use that feminine energy, within your business or your team environment, on how do you want to direct people to kind of look where you want them to look, but you're not going to just grab them and shove them there. Right.
Yeah, we can, I don't want to say manipulate, but it's manipulating for the benefit of everybody. We control emotions, and we know how to play on that and get what we want, which sounds so horrible, but it can be used for good and for evil. Right?
Yes. I love it. So I know in one of your recent podcasts, and you probably have more coming out on this topic, was around goal setting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're almost in December. I can't believe it. We're 2 days away from December.
I know.
The end of year is coming, and many people start thinking about, what are my resolutions? What are your thoughts on resolutions?
I think resolutions they're a recipe for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody keeps resolutions. But goals, I don't wait until the first of the year for goals. I think this needs to be, I plan this out not just for the whole year, but like then on a quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily basis, and those little incremental steps to get where I want to go. But you can plan all you want, but you're not going to get anywhere unless you take action.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part for all of us, myself included. Like taking those small steps to get to those big goals. That's the only way, is if we actually do something and, take ourselves to the gym and eat the food that we're supposed to meal prep instead of the pizza that my kids are having. Do those little things that get us where we want to be.
Yeah.
Otherwise we just stay where we are.
So do you do goals that are just from a business perspective? How do you kind of break them out into different buckets?
So I have them separated into 4 areas. One is my health and fitness. One is my relationships, like not just romantic, but also girlfriends, kids, family. My mind, my mental peace, and then my money and business are in one. So
Okay.
I have goals in every single one of those areas. Whether it's I want to travel with my kids, or I want to mend a relationship with maybe an ex-sister-in-law. Like, these are my goals that I'm working towards. It's not, hey, I want to lose 100 pounds. Like, that's not where my goals are. My goals are, I want to maintain a 6-pack when I'm not competing. So how do I do those things instead of, I don't know, we get so stuck on these huge goals that are really unrealistic. I mean, if you think about it, like in a 1-year time span, they're unrealistic. So if we break them down into smaller bite-sized goals, that's where we're going to have the wins. And then that also gives us the motivation to keep going.
Right.
We build up that momentum. We're like, oh, I got a win there. Okay, next one. Like, this is where I feel like entrepreneurs do that really well. We're really good at making lists and prioritizing things that need to be done.
Right.
And probably entrepreneurs too, like very organized, very by the book. Like, this is what we need to do to get to the next step,
Yeah, I love my checklist.
Yes.
You can just ask anybody.
Yeah.
To me, sometimes the challenge is taking that larger vision, and not from a business perspective, right? Like, if I've got a project that I've got to deliver on, very easy to break that down into a project plan.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've got that larger vision that, let's say, is maintain that 6-pack, or, lose and keep off 10 pounds, or whatever the case may be, how do you break that down into those smaller segments so that every day you have something that's attainable? You don't lose 10 pounds overnight, right? It takes time. As somebody who's gone through a journey of losing a large amount of weight, it takes time so that you do it right. So how do you break some of your goals down? Maybe you can give me an example of how you break that down to a smaller segment.
So I have my meals and my workouts planned out every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And every Sunday night, I'm planning out my entire week. So I know Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, I'm working legs and glutes, and I'm doing these exercise, this many reps, this many sets, like down to like the number of everything. I have down to like the cup of rice that I'm supposed to eat at lunch. Like, how much am I eating? What time am I eating? And it doesn't need to be, I don't know, it's not an all or nothing thing, right? So it's not where, oh, if I miss this snack, oh, I'm screwed the rest of the day. But the intention is there. And I think that's half the battle, is setting yourself up for success, meal prepping, just having everything that you need. And then telling yourself, I don't know, you need to have, in my opinion, you need to have treat meals, not cheat meals, but treat meals set up. So like, okay, Friday night, I'm going to have pizza with my kids. I'm not going to have the whole pizza. Right. I'm going to have 2 slices of pizza, but that will be my dinner.
Yeah.
And that is actually more beneficial for your body, because you're getting this, unless you're doing this like plateau of same food every single day, same calories, you're not going to really see any difference. So we're going to trick your body and give it some more calories, give it some more carbs, and then get back on track.
Yep.
There's a lot of different tricks like that I've learned in the bikini competition space, where you can't do this all or nothing diet for the rest of your life. Like, you need to live too, right?
Right.
So that's what I do. I plan this out, like, literally, what am I eating? When am I having my ice cream or my pizza? What am I doing throughout the week?
So I've always wanted to ask you this question, so I'm going to ask you now. How is it that you resist the pies that you create? Because you make you post some pictures of some beautiful pies that I feel like I gained 20 million calories just looking at.
So I used to own a bakery and coffee shop, and I would do cakes and cupcakes, and I still do like cheesecakes and stuff now. I've tasted it all, and I know it tastes good.
Yeah.
But what I really have to do in my head is, I'm like, I know this is not going to help me get where I want to be. Yes. And to me, oh gosh, it's not even about stepping on stage anymore. Like, I'm 38. To me, it's about maintaining a healthy body and brain.
Yeah.
So my mom has had breast cancer twice. She's got Alzheimer's. And I know if I continue eating the way she did and not exercising and not taking care of myself, I most likely will end up in that same place. So to me, sugars are almost off limits.
Yeah.
You know, I want them. Sure, I do. Yeah. But I want to be around and be mentally capable for my children and grandchildren and all of that too.
Well, I think what's interesting, you talk about being mentally capable, and that fitness piece of everybody's life has more of an impact on their professional life than I think some people are willing to admit.
Yes.
Right. And it helps you have that clarity of thought. It also allows you to have like that endurance, right? So you may not be running a physical race, but if you're sitting in 9 hours of Zoom meetings or face-to-face meetings, you have to have the endurance to be able to get through that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's definitely a connection.
When we are eating junk, like, you feel it in your brain. You're tired all the time. You're run down. You've got brain fog. Like, that is a real thing.
Yeah.
And I know when I'm eating right, when I'm drinking my water, like, I'm on point. Like, I'm good. Even if I'm microdosing a little bit, like, things are firing on all cylinders, you know. Otherwise, that's the only way to do it for me.
So one of your businesses is Badass Boudoir.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So this started as like my passion project. We do retreats for women. And what we do is we bring in like a whole leadership team. Everyone on the leadership team specializes in a different area. So we have like a sex expert, we have a relationship expert, business expert, everything. Yeah. And we rent a beautiful mansion down in Vegas for 3 nights. And we bring in the hair and makeup team, the boudoir photographers. So we have a whole day of boudoir and coaching. And then we go out and we do badass stuff, and we go to the shooting range. We do self-defense. We do yoga. We get massages. Like, it is a whole weekend. But the point of this was to bring women together, because I feel like we have this idea that women are just going to stab each other in the back, right? And so we kind of keep ourselves away from interacting on a closer scale with women. But then I also wanted to bring women together and show them at any age, at any point in their life, whether they've had kids or not, single or not, that you are still sexy, and you can gain that confidence back, or maybe gain it for the first time, because some people have never had it. But true confidence in your own skin, you know, you don't have to lose 20 pounds to feel sexy, to look sexy. It's a transformation that I see these women go through mentally in just a few days. It's beautiful.
That's really cool. I know, like you mentioned, like there's that mindset of women are going to stab each other in the back, right? That there's this competition, which I think is kind of fed to us anyway fed to us by media and movies and, Mean Girls.
Right.
And you actually start seeing it in reality at a pretty young age. So I have a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, almost 9-year-old girls. Mm-hmm. And you start getting in 3rd grade and you start seeing it already, which is just breaks my heart. But it's one of those where bringing adult women together to say, you know what, it's okay for you to start creating allies in other women with other women who are maybe in completely different industries, walks of life, periods in their life, right? Mm-hmm. And you've now created in just this weekend a network of women that have gone through a unifying experience that they can take with them when they go home.
Yes. And it's just amazing to see the difference in these women that I don't know. I have a 15-year-old daughter, so I understand the whole daughters and Mean Girls kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know where, I don't think I've had that many negative experiences with women. So finally, coming together and being like, oh, she's not my competition. Right. She's my friend. She's my sister, and finally having somebody that you can trust and confide in anything. And you realize that we're all kind of going through the same thing and have the same feelings. We're not alone anymore. That's what we need more of, is that community.
Yes. That community and communication. Right. Yes. So, one of the things that I try to do in my industry is how do I make connections with other women I'm in transportation. So women in transportation, right, is there's not many of us, right? So let's lift each other up. Let's help each other out. Let's brainstorm together, because we're going to have a different perspective, or maybe coming from different companies, but you can learn so much from each other, and removing that fake competition is huge, because I don't think you see that necessarily with our male counterparts. It's like, hey, let's go play golf together and we're going to talk business. And we can all learn from each other, right?
Right.
I don't think you see that same thing on the female side. And then I love that you are doing something so unique to break down those barriers. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And then coaching is a big thing, right? There's I've found I'm 45. Last year was the first year I hired a coach, like a personal coach. And maybe I wish I had done it earlier, because it's been very eye-opening. You have coaches in your life that you leverage. That's how we met, was through one coach. And you coach others. So, what's your viewpoint on coaching, and how has it helped you, and how have you seen your coaching help others?
I think the best way to coach other people is to be your best and to put it out there, like positive, negative, everything, and be an example, even if it's, intentional or not.
Yeah.
I think that we're all coaches. If you think about it, we coach our kids, we coach our employees, we coach anybody around us. But labeling, I don't know. I don't like to label myself as a coach, which I know I do, but it's not my favorite thing. I feel like it brings a lot of negative connotation to it, because everybody's a coach. Yeah. Okay. But we all really are. If you really think about it, we're teaching each other, we're giving advice, we're a different perspective when someone comes to us with a problem or a situation. That's all a coach is. Yes. They're outside eyes to your circumstances and what you want to do differently. That's it.
Yeah. And you can either be a good one or a bad one, right?
Yes.
So, you're either yelling and barking out orders, or you're helping guide people to figure out the play and how to do it better.
Well, and so there are some coaches that we know that do yell and scream. And sometimes that resonates with me. Sometimes that turns me completely off. And I'm like, dude, I can't deal with you today. That does not resonate with me right now. So sometimes we need that kick in the ass, rah, rah, rah. And sometimes we need the, okay, girl, take a step back, go take a bath and recenter yourself. And then let's talk.
And I think as a leader with an organization, if you're out there, if you have a team today, or you want to move into a leadership position, being able to recognize when you need to be in either one of those spaces or somewhere in between is super critical to be a successful leader of people.
Yes, I totally agree.
And what to me is what's really cool is I have a great, I've been blessed. I've had many great teams. I have a super great team right now where I have people on the team that will call me out. And they're like, oh, you seem to be having a bad day. So we need you to go take a moment. And that's just being over a video, right? So I'm like, whoa, wow. Thank God I have people who have the balls to be like, hey, you need to take a timeout.
Right? Yes, but thank God they have a leader that can hear that and not take it personally, not, ruin the whole day or the whole team or anything because someone is actually being honest. Like, I think that is huge as a leader.
Right. Yeah. And I try to instill that in new folks moving up the chain is you've got to be flexible and you've got to be open to the feedback.
Yeah.
That's
receptive.
What's going to break you. Yeah. All right. So last question, as we're getting close to the end, is if you could go back and talk to your 25-year-old self, what is like some advice that you wish you could have given her?
Oh man, not sure I would have listened even if I could. Oh geez, I wish I knew that it was okay to be myself, to have a differing opinion, to stand out. Like, I don't need to blend in with everybody else. And that's taken me until I was 35 is when it started. I'm like, oh crap, I wish I knew all this years ago, How much time did I waste just trying to make everybody else happy and comfortable? And silencing myself in the meantime. I wish I wouldn't have done that. But I would not have listened. I know that for sure.
I probably wouldn't have listened at that age either, but it's the sooner you can learn that, the better, because it will propel you in all aspects of your life, your career, your health, your relationships, your spiritual, mental well-being.
That's what makes me excited for my kids. Cause I'm like, dude, I'm giving you this information. Like, you're seeing this. You'll be set up like from day one. You won't have to go through all this. They'll have their own bullshit to go through, but yeah, I wish that we all had these tools from the very beginning.
Yeah. And I think it's, if you say it on repeat, like I always pray that something will connect. So they might be getting it now, but if they end up in, whatever situation, that they'll remember, oh, mom or dad said this. And at that point, maybe we aren't idiots, right?
Maybe.
Well, I want to share your contact information. So best way to reach you is to follow you on Instagram. She has great content. I love it. Like I said, I look at your content every day and I listen to your podcast every day. And then badassboudoirretreat.com. The registration for that is open now, right? And the Badass Retreat is in March.
Yes, we have a couple spaces left.
Yeah, I mean, and three days in a Vegas mansion doesn't sound like that to me either.
No kids, no men. Like, we take care of everything.
So you're selling heaven, and I love it. But make sure you give Liandra a follow. It's definitely worth it. She's got great tips that she posts out there. Her content's amazing. And, her Badass Boudoir Retreat, I've heard from other women who've gone through it and done it. And they just love it. And I've never heard anything bad about it. So please, please, please give her a follow if you're interested, or you're interested for your significant other. Definitely great time to buy a Christmas present for sure. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Thank you so much, Liandra, for joining us. I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thank you for tuning into Might in Motion. If you learned something about motivation, momentum, mindfulness, or might, please like, comment, and share. Thank you.